Hey guys, welcome to my live stream. Welcome to my cactus live stream. Seedlings, vegetables. I brought a few different vegetables today, where I just want to see if we have maybe seeds in there. That those were donated, so we will look into them. One's an avocado, the other I'm not sure. Passion fruit, maybe we will see. But yeah, welcome to my live stream, guys. I have a lot of stuff to do again today. Many seedlings that we have grown that need water. Classic daily watering work that always needs to be done. So yeah, I will do that today. Then I have these here in the takeaway containers that we should look through, like go through again. They haven't been checked in a while. So yeah, then I have the strawberries again. I felt like this isn't working, at least not for me. I decided I want to have that thing in a box. So I have a big box today that I want to, like where we want to put that in to induce germination. Let me show you that thing. Here it is. Yeah, so this is for inducing germination, just to create a little greenhouse effect in this plastic container. And later today I will unwrap this thing. These are white forest strawberries that we have sown out. And I want to take this out. The reason is this is too close to the soil and I don't want to have it like mess up here. Hey mate, welcome to the live stream. Great to see you. Hope everything's all right. And also everyone who missed it like yesterday, I hope you guys are all right. And yeah, today I have a lot of stuff to do. I have like 5-6 different things that I wanna go through in the live stream. I'm not sure if I manage to do it all, but it's going to be interesting. Yeah, and I brought these fruits here. Maybe we can find some seeds in there for sowing out. I believe it's passion fruit. I'm not sure. I would take a photo of it sometime later. But yeah, maybe it has seeds in it. Yeah, thank you. I'm having a good time. Like, it's not that life's easy. Life's very tough for me. Like, it's tougher than it ever was. But for the first time, I feel like I'm at the right place. I just had a moment this week where I felt like I arrived. You know, I always had a lot of disadvantages to overcome. Like, I was pretty poor, and I'm still poor, but today I'm in a much better shape. Today I built what I have now. You know, I'm proud of the channel that I built, proud of all the videos, and I'm sure that this thing will lead me into a great future. And that is what I felt this week. I was standing there, sunny day under the oak trees that my grandfather planted. You know, it was a beautiful day, and I just realized I will do this. You know, like I trust myself to not screw up. I'm finally like, I have grown immensely in the last years, that kind of stuff, you know. I'm proud to be to have survived the last 2 years. I come from 2 years of winter, and getting divorced soon, and I'm looking forward to it. On to new beginnings. So yeah, great to see you here, and thanks for the feedback about the passion fruit. I hope it has seeds in it. This is just something that my mom brought me to support the live stream so we can sow out. Look, I almost starved, okay? I'm not having these kind of discussions where people comment how poor I was. I almost starved in the last years. That is poor enough, you know? I've been going through hell, okay? I've been really poor. Very poor, to the point where I couldn't afford the heating, where I couldn't, where I had a hole in the bathroom, where it was raining in, to malnutrition at points in my life. So yeah, but it's okay. I still came out good, you know. I just say, I know poverty. Yeah, it's okay. I've had really hard few 20 years or so. I've aged like 40 years in 20. Like it was really difficult. So yeah, but I'm glad that I am where I am today. So, and I'm proud of that, you know, I'm really proud of that. So yeah, and doing the live stream is fun. I enjoy it so much. Yeah, okay. I will leave it I will put it aside because it felt pretty firm. And if the seeds aren't ripe yet, would be a waste if there are some in there. And this is avocado. I haven't eaten them before. I'm not sure what to do with it. I don't even know if I can sow it out, you know. But we will see what we do with it. It feels a little bit mushy already. I will look into the ripening stage of avocado and how long they might need if I want to sow out the seed. I suppose you can sow out the seed, right? Yeah, I heard that. I've discussed it yesterday. I wouldn't have bought it. Like, this is something that my mom bought me, you know, and I can't influence that, what she gets me. And this is just, yeah, you know, maybe we're trying out the experiments and see if we can sow that out. But I've seen a lot of people doing it with cuttings. Okay, so I will put this aside. They might need to ripen a little bit longer. But let's go through the seedlings, okay? And I'm always happy to take questions, always happy to take the live stream into a new direction if you want. These are the strawberries that we planted just a few days ago. Yeah, I've seen some of them. Like, I've had a few. Like, I've had that beautiful bluish passiflora that is such a beautiful flower. I've had that one for a few years, but I've never grown them successfully from seeds. So that would be a new experience, you know. And yeah, these here, I want to take out. Maybe we're doing that first. These are strawberries, a white strawberry cultivar that my mom brought me, and it's in this weird kind of box here, like a little compost, like a little compost bin. And I want to take that out because this is just too close to the soil. I feel like the seedlings will have no space to germinate. So yeah, let me open that up. I had covered them to keep out the fungus gnats, you know. Okay. Yeah, just removing this plastic foil because it proved to be a failure. At least as far as I'm concerned, it didn't keep it closed up fully. I was a little bit worried something might have gotten into it, you know. So that's why I'm taking it out. And now I'm bringing this thing here. So I want to use that for it later. So I will put it into this thing. So this here is also for sowing out. I'll put this on the side here. Okay. Nice. So this will not stay the only plant that I have in this thing, but for now we're trying it with the strawberries and just the strawberries. I will spray them a little because I see that the soil is probably too dry. Yeah, I've only, like, they had that, like, the bag was pretty big, lots of seeds in the bag, and I only planted a few to try it out. And I might have already planted too many. The seeds are tiny. I'm sure these will turn out. If they germinate, if the seeds are viable, there will be many. I'm mostly sowing out stuff to try out, you know. It doesn't matter what it is. We will try, like, everything that I get my hands on, I want to try. Okay, so it's raining a little here. Yeah, and then I'll cover it up to make sure that no fungus gnat gets into this thing, because if the fungus gnat gets in, they instantly have a great time. This needs to be somewhat humid, and I'm not sure if I can get that. Like the seedlings might need to reach a certain size before we can take them out, and the fungus gnats might eat them in that time. So I will close that up now. Yeah, and this comes somewhere besides the plant lamp, and that will help them germinate. I don't have excessive water in it. It might already be a little bit too much. I just want to have that humid greenhouse climate in that thing. But this is great. Okay, and now I can do the seedlings and everything. Just looking for my stuff. Okay, here's the water sprayer. Okay. Hey, good morning. Great to see you. Hope you're all right. I was a little worried. Hope things are all right for you. And yeah, great to see you again. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I've planted strawberries again. I removed that foil around the strawberries, and now I have them in a bigger plastic box, just to induce germination. And when that happens, I will bring it back. That's great to hear. Okay, yeah. So unfortunately, I'm missing the thing that I usually put below when I'm working, so I would just start without it. It might turn into a huge mess, but that's okay. Maybe let's use this here. Okay. So these seedlings here, want to discuss them. Super dry, and that's why I selected them at that size. I want to water them right away when I see that the soil is dry. Some of them genetically unhealthy. I'm happy when I get a few seedlings from this container. This is just genetically troubled. Let me see. Yeah, it's a Hildewinterer hybrid. Hildewinterer is a species, is a genus that belongs to Cactus now, and apparently there are not that many wild population, at least not, excessively many, and that means that genetically this thing is a little bit weak. Especially when it's used in hybrid breeding, where there are many hybrids with it, many different Hildewinterer hybrids. It's a huge scene, and some of them are healthier than others, But in general, unhealthiness is something that I have seen a lot in Hildewinterer. Yeah, I want to water them, just spraying them a little bit. Yeah, but this is great. This is great. Maybe we can get a few healthy seedlings. The way this looks, maybe 4 or 5, I would be happy with that already. I don't need too many seedlings. You only need that one plant that makes it in these rare cases. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. These were packed somewhere. This was packaging material. But yeah, this is the same kind of thing, but it's pretty firm. I often use it just as so I don't cause a huge mess on the desk. And I have a few of them. I haven't tried starting fire, like making a fire with them, but I might. So good to know in case I need to sort it out. Yeah, these here, check them out. They are growing. They're growing somewhat healthily. Not many discolorations. Pretty green, healthy color. I really like them. This is a good one. Let me see what it is. Winteriana, Lobivia winteriana. They are a little bit more sensitive to cold weather, so I have them inside now. That will mean that I get a lot more of them in the future, like flowering. I often had them, and then I put them in the greenhouse, but it's just too cold for them. So now I'm trying to have a little bit more control over them, growing them inside mostly. Yeah, that's true. I really don't like they're selling this kind of whitish stuff to start fires, and it smells it really smells bad, like unhealthy. Every time I'm starting a fire, and if you don't have a fire starter, that kind of stuff gets really nasty when it's burning, like a lot of black smoke, that kind of thing. So I try, like when I'm doing a fire, I usually try to do it like, slowly building up, just with a little bit of, I don't know, like wood, these little wood pieces, just tiny, very thin, almost sawdust, and that works also. But I haven't made fire since early this year, like when it was really cold. Yeah, thank you. Okay, yeah, I want to water these here. I think they're great. Soil looks okay. There's no reason to move them into another pot. That is something that I always worry about a little bit. At some point you have to look at the soil and decide that it's time to move into a new pot. But for now, these are doing nicely. These are nice and spiny. I really like them. So these here just need water. They're a little bit too deep in the pot. We could replant them. Might not be a bad idea. I think we're doing that, trying to work a little bit clean. So let me get a little bit of soil, and then we are replanting them. Just need that thing to put below, so I can. Okay. So this will allow me to repot a little without causing a huge mess. Okay. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I like the idea, to be completely independent. That kind of stuff, I like that. It's not possible mostly, We all have stuff that we need, but I like the idea. I like to be a little bit more off grid, not totally. It's good to when you can just buy something if you need it, But there's positives when you're living a little bit further away. Okay, so let me move the seedlings. Brought new soil. I have a big pot of new soil below the desk, and I want to fill it up. Just making sure that it's really full. I don't want to have that half empty pot again. When I see that now in my earlier seedlings that I planted, it really bothers me. I want to go back in time just to plant them, put in a little bit more soil. That's the reason I would invent a time machine, so I could undo that. Because once you have them it's in the first months, you can't really plant them again right away without risking to lose a few. So I try not to do it. And every time, like the less soil you have in that thing, the more humidity problems do you have down there, like shade, mold. Okay. Oh, by the way, this morning I found a little, like a wet spot on the wall of the cellar. I might really have to do something with the cellar. Hey. Oh, I'm not a real fan of Dortmund. I'm a fan of the Bundesliga. I have jerseys of them, of all of the clubs. I probably have more like Bayern Munich jerseys than everything else, you know. I grew up when I was a kid. I was a fan of Bayern München, and then later, the older I got, the less interested I was. Like, I lost touch with Bayern when they won the championship every year, like for 10 years, 12 years. That's when I kind of lost a little bit of interest, you know, because it wasn't like the Bundesliga wasn't that kind of a challenge anymore because Bayern won all of the games, you know, and that's really when I kind of drifted away a little bit, and now I like all the Bundesliga clubs from 90s. I like these classic jerseys, you know. But I'm glad you are a fan. Yeah, like I'm happy for you. I'm always happy when someone has something that makes him so happy, you know? Good for you. And like I said, I'm not even a Dortmund fan, but they're a great club nonetheless, like great stadium. Really nice nice fans. So yeah. Like in today in the landscape in the Bundesliga, like the German football league, they don't have that kind of a hate anymore. The clubs, they all have the same issues in the Bundesliga. Okay, yeah. So I will start moving the seedlings now. Yeah. Looking forward to the matches today, like today and tomorrow. Really looking forward to it. I think Bayern plays Leverkusen, right? I'm looking forward to it. I will be watching it too. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Jokes aside, you know, I just love watching all the clubs. It's the most interesting league, and the second league is great too. Okay, yeah, let's move them. These are Pseudolobivia hybrids, and I want to move them into the new soil, into the sowing soil here. These look great. This is a good plant, good hybrid. I really want to see what will come from them, so we will transplant them early. A little bit more water that I don't have to rip out the seedlings out of the soil. But that aside, these look really interesting, like just parentage. The mother has such a beautiful flower. Okay. And now that I've sprayed this a few times and the soil is still dry, still completely dry at the bottom. So you have to be careful when you're watering this thing. Sometimes it takes a while to really soak through. And when you pull out the seedlings, you do not want to have the root stuck in the soil and the seedling in your hand. This is roughly the size of the cactus root that they have. Not very big. This is with soil. I always try to get a little bit below and then pull it out somehow. Okay. This one was like very little soil on the root, but the root's still intact. But I think it's still intact, yeah. For the age of the soil, the seedlings look pretty good. So it wasn't absolutely necessary to transplant them. But it's good that we did, you know. Here's a little bit more soil. I tried to get that off. I don't want to overdo it. When I'm moving old soil, like seedlings into new soil, I don't want to bring in too much of the old soil. Otherwise, you can always contaminate it. If the old soil had a problem, sometimes you get it in the new soil too. And that is really bad. Okay, I'm almost done. And these seedlings here, I will grow them all. Hey, welcome to the live stream. Great to see you. Hope everything's all right. We made it to the weekend. I'm happy, but it's raining. Kami's incredibly disappointed, like the cat. Yesterday, I was out with her quite a lot. She was checking out the chickens of the neighbor. Hey, take care, mate. Was great to see you. Was great that you were here. I'm still here for another hour or so. So yeah, Kami saw chickens and she was totally freaked out. I posted a photo and she was standing on her back legs like a werewolf, you know, really like a little werewolf. She looked super funny, and she was totally freaked out because I don't think she has seen chickens like that before. I always tried to show them to her, but she never really wanted to look at them. And yesterday, when she saw them, she was really weirded out. And it was so, I had to laugh. It was really fun. So yeah, now I hope that like in summer and all that kind of where she can see the chickens, that I can keep that free of weeds and that kind of stuff, you know. Always got to make sure that she can still see the chickens. I just need to see that face again next time when she sees them again. So this morning I was inspecting the cellar, and the reason is that I'm bringing in another shelf for seedlings so I can show them here in the live stream. And then I was bringing that shelf out of the cellar and I cleaned it outside the house. And then I saw that I have a little wet spot on the wall in the cellar. Bad news. Like when you're a homeowner and you see a little wet spot in the cellar, in the wall, that's not good. So I will have to look into that in the next months. I might have to start finding where that comes from. And I'm really frustrated. That's a lot of work. So yeah, that is why I was a little bit late this morning. I was inspecting the cellar wall. Okay, so now I have the seedlings lying here. I would spray them once now just to clean them, just so I can push them into the so I can push them into the soil. This was a little bit too much. You shouldn't sandblast the seedlings out of the pot. Yeah, but I'm spraying it a little so the soil has that flexibility that I can move the seedlings into it. I don't want to have to use too much pressure because every little bit of pressure can be dangerous for the roots. So yeah, I think this is enough. And every time I do that, I just dig a little hole with the tweezers, and then I slowly move that seedling into it. Sometimes you basically put them a little deeper into the soil than they were before, and that can work usually. Just have to make sure that the base doesn't get infected. But usually most of the cacti that I grow, they deal with, like, they have no problem dealing with being potted a little deeper than they usually would be in nature, you know. They can handle that very often. I do that sometimes when I graft, and when I have a grafting stock that's unstable, that doesn't have the stability to graft on it, because you need that kind of steady pressure, and you need to be able to apply it at exactly the right spot. And to get a little bit of stability into the grafting stock, I sometimes pot them a little deeper, cover them with soil all around, and that gives me the grafting stock at exactly the right height where I want it. And that works too. That works too. You can do it. It's just better not to sometimes. A little bit of drainage for the little cactus seedlings at the base is most important. So yeah, I just try to push them into the soil now, spraying them again. And these all look pretty good. I really see potential that they all make it. And if we do not make mistakes, we have a good chance that they will long-term survive. And this is one of the crosses where we'll single them out, where every little seedling will get a separate pot later. For now, they have a lot of time. I don't really plan to single them out until they really fill the pot. And then we're moving them into separate pots each. Maybe in a year. We will see. Depends on how fast they grow. If they grow so slow that it takes 2 years, then it's also okay. So I want to water them again. It just makes it easier to push the seedlings into the soil without injuring them, without causing these little injuries. And you really need to be able to push them exactly the way you need stability. So water really helps, makes things so much easier. You could do it without, but it would be, for one, it would be messy because the soil would stick to the seedlings all the time and take away visibility. It would cover the tools, that kind of stuff. Okay. Yeah, so this is the first time they are repotted now. First time sown out roughly 3 months ago. Not a lot of growth in that time, but there's steady growth. They don't look weak. They just aren't huge. 1 or 2 of the seedlings look variegated, and variegated seedlings sometimes are unhealthy, so we might lose 1 or 2 of those. The classic green seedlings look all right. Okay. I'll check it out. Yeah. It will take a while. It will take a good month until the whole soil has settled down. You are constantly watering them. Like, I'm watering them once a day now. At least if the soil has dried out within 1 day. If the soil is still wet, then I wait a little longer. I don't want to water soil that is still wet from the previous watering, because that means that you would give the soil enough humidity to get a few pests that thrive in that kind of a humidity. You could get fungal infections that thrive in that kind of humidity, damping off, that kind of stuff. So finding the right humidity is important. So yeah, these here, I think we need to plant these a little deeper. Or we have to look at the root. Something is off here. If this is an infected root, something like that, then there must be a reason for it. Usually that reason is fungus gnats, so we will look into that now. I want to look at that seedling that I've seen rolling around because I know something isn't all right. They shouldn't roll. They are cacti. So let me see what we have here. This is an older injury. This looks like fungus gnat bites, but it's already healed. This could have been maybe 3 weeks ago when that damage happened. The soil is dry now. Usually fungus gnats can thrive in dry soil. They might still have that little bit of, where they can just survive, but they can thrive. And that is the most important thing. You don't want to have that little larvae crawling around eating seedlings. If you can lock that out, then it's okay. It doesn't look like it might not heal. Like this could actually root again. So I will try to put it back into the soil. But this is not easy. Because once you are starting to water this, you increase the likelihood of a fungal infection. Because this is already, it's scarred. And sometimes the scar is healed enough that it won't get infected, but very often it isn't. And in this case here, doesn't look great, you know, it doesn't look clean. Sometimes you have that clean wound where you can just put it on the soil and it will be all right, but this doesn't look like that. So I want to look at the other seedlings and mostly just at the roots. I want to see if the root is still okay. So I move them back and forth just to see what's going on at the base there. And if they are firmly in the soil, then that's a good sign, because when you have these fungus gnat bites, they often attack the base because the larvae is in the soil and that's where they eat. So yeah, for now, not seeing more seedlings that have that, at least not yet. Let me see what's going on here. Yeah, this one doesn't look good. But I think the root is still there. But we have to move that seedling. That needs to be replanted in a good way. Here's a little seedling that didn't make it, like this one here. This I will take out. You don't want to have too much organic stuff lying on the soil. That is really, it's like an invitation to fungal infections. So yeah. So this is the other root. And I'm worried how thin it is, and it looks like it's bent. It's not healthy. Something happened in this container. I consider to report, you know, but the soil looks like there are no fungus gnats in it now. The other roots are okay. This is on the list of seedlings that I might report very soon. For now, I just want to put it into the soil. Again, let's water this, because the seedlings need water no matter what. Yeah, and this needs a little to sink in. This is just so dry that I have to repeat that a few times. Always watering again. And by the way, earlier today I checked if we have any germinations on the seeds that we have sown. I have planted sweet melon, watermelon, like these yellowish, orange kind of watermelons, and also aubergines. And so far we have no seedlings on those, but it doesn't look bad. I saw that something in that pot, in that one pot, had moved. So maybe the seeds come up. Okay. The water needs very long to run through. This has been very dry. And that can also cause these root problems. Maybe it's just dehydration that got excessive. I think we will repot them. I don't like the soil. I have that feeling about the soil that I would rather ditch it. So let me get another container with full of soil. Okay. Really filling it up like the others. So in this case, I will try to get rid of as much old soil as I can. I really want to give them new soil. Let me clean that a little bit. When they are so small, when the root is so small, best start fresh when they don't look good. So yeah. But most of the seedlings are okay. And this is from a Uwe Kahle hybrid cross between Zizala and Bamboy. Really good. So it's important that we repot them. This is top-notch kind of hybrids. Would be great to see the flower now. I would love to see that. So yeah, I take the seedlings apart now. They're in these little groups of seedlings. Like when you have them, when you're sowing out, they usually come up pretty close to each other. And that can be beneficial. But at some point, I really like to take them apart, simply because that allows me to plant them like into exactly that angle that I want to plant them. If you have a few seedlings together, if you push on one side, the other side moves, and that means it makes it hard to have the perfect arrangement of every cactus seedling. So yeah, when you really want to make sure they are well in the soil, separate them, gives you a little bit more control. But sometimes it can also be good for them. It gives them a little stability if they are weak in the beginning. It kind of keeps the water a little bit in the soil when they are so close together. So yeah. And I'm really careful about not injuring the little root. That is the big thing that I always say. Seedlings, if you damage the root, they might not recover. They are just one little root injury away from being gone. Okay. Yeah, this is okay. I think I have them all now. Not finding any more. So, and this is the old soil, and I will put the old soil in the garden somewhere, doing some outside gardening with it. But nothing inside the house anymore, because I don't want to reuse soil over and over and over again, because that can spread. If you have one pest in there, you have it everywhere. Okay. So yeah, I would spray them now. And then I can start pushing them into the new soil. Again, the soil is Sowing soil, available in every garden store, bigger garden chain. They all have that. Quality differs, of course. Not every brand of soil is equally good. But the most basic kind of thing should work, at least for sowing out for the first 2-3 months, and then you can decide what you want to do. Of course, you can also sow out in a mineral kind of thing right away, but it's not my approach. I'm going away from that mineral thing a little bit, just for a few cacti that really need it, where you have no alternative, or if it's really a situation where I need perfect drainage. But in general, I like to work with real soil. I have it indoors, I don't want to have that kind of a, I don't know, stone mine mineral deposit in my house. I'm okay with a bag of soil, like can have organic soil if it bothers you, that kind of stuff, but everything, like once you are starting to stockpile minerals to mix soil inside, it gets dirty, and I don't want that. Okay, so yeah, I move them into the new soil now, just pushing them a little bit gently, always making a little hole, and then I push the root and the seedling into that little hole, and then I cover the seedling all around with soil. Yeah, here's another one. So I'm spraying them again just to get better visibility, just to have have cleaner seedlings. I don't like when they are already full of dirt. They might have a little wound, and then you already contaminated the wound. Especially when you're moving them, you can always cause that little injury. And when the seedling looks horrible, then you can always have pathogens that get in. These don't have a lot of room for error, so always try to do what you can to avoid the most common problems that have a tendency to happen. Okay. Yeah, some of the bases here, like the base section of the seedlings, don't look so great. I don't know. They at some point something attacked them. And usually, like when the seedling really survives, when the infection doesn't spread into the core, if the seedling just manages to heal the infection, it will usually scar. Sometimes you still have the infection in there, but it's like hold in, dried up, and yeah, then usually the seedlings root again. They just form a new root eventually. But for that to happen, we have to be careful with the soil humidity. If you have these seedlings where already there was a problem with the root, once you start keeping them wet, once you spray them on a regular basis, you are in dangerous territory. That kind of a infection can always come back. You already have that wound that might already be a little bit dirty. Of course, you can clean it up. But the moment you cause a little injury cleaning up, you can even make it worse. It could be that entry that you wouldn't have had if you had just put it in the soil without doing too much. So we would see, like these seedlings don't have that much room for cutting off. And if something happened, the best approach is usually to graft the seedling, really seedling grafting. But so far, the grafting stocks are not ready. We will get there, but they are not ready yet. Okay. So yeah, a little bit more water now, just to clean the seedlings and to finalize this. Most of these are a little bit deeper than they were before. And that usually works out great. If you have a little wound that becomes infected, then it's the opposite of great. But that happens rarely. So we will see. We just have to control the humidity. If that thing is wet all the time, like consistently wet, then that is much more likely to happen than when we let this thing, like we water it now, let it dry out, maybe for 2 or 3 days, then we water it again. And if we're doing that, always making sure that the soil is dries out again every time, then we have a chance that the root will eventually, everything will be hardened up, that no infection can get through anymore. We could callus the seedling a little bit, and it would increase the likelihood that you wouldn't get an infection. But callusing a seedling is not easy. Like you would have to place it under a lamp, UV lamp, and then when we're talking about a seedling of this size, it could just shrivel up. So yeah, whatever approach you take, there are risks, and every time you have a new kind of situation, and you sometimes can't predict what is going to happen, because it depends on what soil they are in. You always have to look at what kind of a soil you're using, and that can greatly affect the outcome of this. That's why we repotted them now. Okay, so these here, roughly 3 months old now, grown on the live stream. Yeah, and they're getting to the point when they might need a bigger home. We will see. For now, they are dehydrated a little bit. They could be twice as big if they had been watered maybe a little bit more often, but that also comes with risks. So I try to find a middle ground between having a dry soil and dehydration. When I water them, I usually try to water them a lot. That gives them the ability to really take in the water then in that time, and then I let it dry out again. If you don't water enough in the big, like when the soil was really dry, it doesn't take long until there's no water left, and the seedlings might not be able to take in enough water in that time they have. So yeah, that's why I'm spraying it a few times. This time they are already dehydrated. I don't want this to become any worse. Seedlings here, yeah, they need to come in a bigger pot. Here's a piece of wood that I want to take out. Here's a piece of wood. Seedlings still look healthy. Can't see those superbly unhealthy seedlings anywhere. Here's one that looks like it's just covered by the others. Let me turn that around to see what's going on there. Yeah, this one doesn't look good. Was way at the ground, somewhere down, and probably didn't get any light and any water. I gave it a little bit of space now, and we would see how that would go. I think this is enough. This will take a good day to dry out in this soil. And I think this might even be the first soil that we use, the darker soil. And we might have to repot them sometime soon. Okay. So these here look okay. Nice green color. They have spines. You can really see that they are developing, that they continue to develop. But they have a little dehydration. Soil very dry. Again, in order to avoid the biggest problems that you can, like with little seedlings, you always try to find a middle ground somewhere that keeps them alive and keeps the pests out, keeps the pathogens out that can jump on humidity. So yeah, want to spray them again. Yeah. Here's a seedling. Oh, here's one that we need to take out. Just the infection left, like just a little clump of infection comes into the trash. There was another seedling that was stuck to it, so we will clean that up a little bit. Maybe get rid of the soil here. And then I tried to pot it up again. And I'm sure that seedling now has a chance after I took that rotting thing from it. Yeah, they need a little bit more water. In general, they are a little bit dehydrated. Apart from that, it's all good. They're growing. They have a nice green color. Let me see what it is. Uvocale seedlings. Body looks a little bit like Gräser hybrids, maybe. These ruffled Gräser hybrids, yeah. But for now, everything all right. I can still keep them in that pot, but they're also coming to a point when we might have to take them out. Single out. Then I have these here that I wanted to show you. Very dry soil. And in this case, you can see a little bit of discoloration from stress. Just classic stress. Sun stress. Sometimes when the seedlings need a little bit more water, they turn red easily. And it also depends on which species are involved. It isn't really a huge thing. Once you start watering them more, once you take them out of that kind of a bright spot, then they recover. So the plan for these now is to just water them and move them into a little bit shadier spot. And sometime soon I want to repot them, but they look actually pretty decent for that. Like for for the fact that they are still in the old soil, I'm not seeing that big reason to move them now. If I would see single seedlings that would be completely unhealthy, dead, you know, like rotten seedlings somewhere, I would maybe reconsider. But these still look good. They just need a little bit more water, and I will put them in a more shady spot now for a few, like for a week maybe. And in a week, I probably will water them once a day or once every 2 days, depending on, like, in that new shady spot, depending on how fast the soil dries there. Every place is different. Every house is different. So we will see. We will water them accordingly to how fast the water evaporates again, how fast the soil dries up. Okay. Then I wanted to show you these. This is a little success here, because I took them out, and I took them out a little bit earlier than I should have had maybe. And the reason was that I wanted to avoid the issues with the fungus gnats that we had in this old soil. Like all of them that are in that old soil, we will repot them eventually. But for now, this is still okay. Let me inspect the soil a little bit. I want to make sure that that we haven't overlooked anything, but on the first impression here is really decent. But that doesn't mean we don't need to repot them eventually. This is on the list to be reported within the next months, maybe. Just trying to find, sometimes you find remnants of seedlings. And if I find that, then I know that there might still be something going on. You might still have healthy seedlings, but there was some activity in the soil. But everything looks good. I cleaned it up a little. For now, they are free to stay in that. But they need water now. I will spray them once every day, maybe. This is the kind of size where they might take, where you might miss a day of watering here and there, and they would still be okay. But roughly, if the soil is dry, I want to water it again. And that's usually once a day, depending on how wet it was. Yeah, and by the way, I want to say I'm just putting together a big kind of shelf for the seedlings. We will have a great setup in here, maybe with a repotting table, that kind of stuff. I'm really setting a good system up here, and the live stream will be great, and that kind of a video set, you know. So I'm looking forward to that. Everything is growing. Conditions get better and better. I really enjoy what I do right now here. So yeah, and I'm moving the seedlings a little bit into the soil. Just here a little bit correction on 1 or 2 seedlings. Nothing drastic. Apart from that, they all look good. This can go back. Gets water every day or every 2 days. And fertilizer maybe every 3 weeks now. 3 or 4 weeks is a decent kind of time frame. Maybe 3. Depending on how much you put in every time. If you put in a full dose, or if you put in like a fifth of a dose, that of course makes a big difference. In the beginning, a lot of people use a heavily diluted concentration with the fertilizer. And if you do that a few more times, doesn't hurt, you know. Like if you already have less in the soil, less in the water that you give, then you can do it more often. I like that approach more anyways, you know. I don't like when you fertilize once and you fertilize heavily. I very much prefer when you fertilize and water more on a steady basis, but a little bit less, a little bit lower concentration, maybe even a little bit lower concentration than recommended, just to kind of connect it a little bit more with the watering than regular watering, always having a little bit of nutrients in it. That is a good thing. Okay, so here I transplanted seedlings in new soil. This is already the second soil, classic sowing soil, and the soil before was a little bit more organic. Also having big pieces of wood in it, and the seedlings didn't do so well. So I moved them, and here are one or two seedlings that did not survive the move. They might have already been damaged beforehand, but the move definitely gave them the rest. So I want to take that out. Everything, every dead seedling, every skin of seedling comes out. Then a few pieces of wood here and there that are lying that I don't like. I just want to keep the soil free, like that you can get that oxygen gets there. You know how it is when you have a room that is barely heated and you put a cabinet right in front of the wall, something like, that covers the whole wall, and that is bad. That is really bad. And if the soil is free of any kind of stuff that is just lying there, that can just trap a little bit of water below it, then it's good for the seedlings. You need to really make sure that the seedlings grow well. Everything else isn't supposed to be there. A little bit of pieces of wood don't really hurt excessively, but if it's too much, you have that top layer. It's like you have mulched the top layer. Okay, I will water them now. Little bit of water, and apart from that, apart from the fact that we found those two seedlings that have expired, the other seedlings look good. These are 3 months old now, sown out at the beginning of the live stream. You can literally see them grow from the beginning. So yeah, and for now this is on a good path. We might have to split them up at some point, but for now there's still a lot of space here. Definitely the next 6 months we will not have issues here. And if they should really grow surprisingly fast, then we'll just repot them. Yeah, okay, so these here, the ones that are rolling around, I might already take out. That is a good sign that the root section isn't there, that something happened to the root, and I don't like that to begin with. And the seedlings here, a lot of variegated seedlings, weak seedlings, I'm not holding their hands anymore. So I would spray this now, and then we will take a closer look at the root section of the seedlings. I just have enough. Like, I don't want to wait anymore in this container. That's why I brought them out. There already is one seedling here. And even if only that one grows, I'm already happy. And the other seedlings here, they have not or barely grown since they have germinated, Like this was maybe 3 months ago and they have not grown. We could transplant them. I consider it right now. Just looking at them, they are very small. But at this point, it might even be beneficial, like that new soil might be good for them. But yeah, some of them are really tiny. We would almost certainly lose quite a few that would not even make that transplant into the new pot. So let me spray them once more now. I will put this aside. We will decide that later. It doesn't have to be decided now. But this is a container where I'm unhappy with the growth rate, where I decided I will not waste more time with it. If the seedlings won't grow, then that's okay. I can't decide what is healthy and what isn't. These here, We need to transplant, I think. I don't like the soil. But this looks like it's already the second soil. So I'm just wondering. I'm wondering why it looks so bad. Yeah, I think we will transplant the seedlings here. That soil is just not giving me a good vibe. It failed the vibe check. So let me just get a little bit of soil, little container, and then I will move these into the new soil. Okay. Once again, full container. And I spray them just to get them out of the soil. I don't want to have the roots break off. When I'm done with that, I will do like a little bit more watering there, 1 or 2 that need water now. And then we will do the containers, the takeaway containers. These things, I have them beside me and I almost knocked them off the desk a few times. And yeah, if I don't do it, then eventually I will accidentally knock them down. So that's on the plan next. So let me just spray the soil once to have it somewhat wet. And then I place the seedlings on top of it. Trying to get rid of as much soil as I can, but without losing the root. Some of them look pretty bad, so it's good that we're moving them. And when I say they look bad, the root section doesn't look good. Like there's not a huge root. They should already have a little bit bigger root. At least that's what I feel, judging by the whole appearance of them. This one just came out. I'm really worried a little bit about the root section. It's good that we are repotting them. You have to, when you're doing this kind of stuff, trust your gut. Really trust your gut. Sometimes you look at soil and you feel something is off. And then it's often true. Then it's often the case. pH level is sometimes bad. Or just damping off unhealthy pathogens in the soil. Better start fresh sometimes. That is the big thing when you're growing plants. It's like changing the water when you have fish. Okay, yeah, and I place all the seedlings on top here. Might take a little. I'm trying to really inspect them. Here's a seedling that is sick. Infected base, probably fungus gnat. And sometimes you see it. Glad that we can get rid of that soil. The seedlings will definitely get a few weeks of an advantage in the new soil. And I hope that's enough. We'll carefully pot them up now, like put them in the soil with the root. And then I will spray them on a regular basis every time the soil is dry. But it needs to be dry. When you have these fungus gnat problems already, then I would look very closely at how much water I'm giving. Drying out should usually happen. So every now and then you are watering when it's still a little bit wet, and that isn't that huge deal breaker. Just make sure that in general that soil dries out on a regular basis. Okay, so let me have a look at the label, what we have here. 18A 2000 Pseudolobivia hybrids. Yeah. Echinopsis. Pseudolobivia had been integrated into Echinopsis for a long time. Like these classic Echinopsis obrepanda plants. Yeah, cool plants. I like them. They're called highland Echinopsis. Growing in the Bolivian highlands, like way up, humidity, really cool plants. Good for hybrid breeding. So yeah, now I move the seedlings into the soil. I've sprayed it. Let me spray it again just to make sure that it's flexible enough. I want to be able to get the little thing in there. And without breaking it, you know? So carefully, the most dangerous moment when you're pushing a seedling into the soil, like that spot at the base, you really need to be careful when you push it into the soil that you do not damage the base, that you do not bend the seedling. Really push it carefully. Often creating a hole before you push it in, that is really a good approach usually. Doesn't always work. Sometimes you have issues to get the seedling perfectly into the soil then, but usually it works. And that is especially true if you pot them a little deeper than before. Like I said before, you can do that. It's not, sometimes you have to be a little bit careful. There are certain species that just do not take too much, like they need good drainage at the base. But it's also, you can also do that with good water management, not watering too much. If the soil is dry, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Of course, if you have a seedling in soil that is always wet, even worse in cold temperatures like in a greenhouse, and the soil is constantly wet from drip water, that kind of stuff, then they don't have a chance. But inside, the way I have them now, this is okay. So I spray them again because I realized that the soil had become too dry. Pushing the seedlings in was really difficult. And now it's so easy again. Okay. Yeah. And now I'm almost done here. When I'm done, when they are all in the soil, then I spray them one last time. And then I reposition them one last time, and then they go under the lamp. I leave them under the plant lamp for a day or two, where they really get full sun. I have a little plant lamp that is really decent. Not superbly good, but decent. And yeah, that will help them settle in. I want that soil to dry out again in the first day, maybe or within the first 2 days. Now that I have them in new soil, I want that soil to dry up. That allows me to kind of, like, the seedlings will eventually have that solid, firm connection to the soil. And the fact that it's drying out, it helps with that. But you need to have them right. They have to be in the right angle. They really have to have connection to the soil. Like the root needs to be in there. Because if it's just on top of very dry soil, then the seedling has no chance. They will not get nutrients. Okay. This actually looks okay. This looks acceptable. Okay, yeah, we will put that under the lamp, let the soil dry out, and then maybe next week or so I will bring it back. It depends on how things are going, how fast the soil will dry. Here's another seedling that I forgot, but it's so tiny that I don't think it will play a role here. I try to get it into the soil. But this is unlikely to be a long-term seedling, you know. Not looking like a survivor. These here need water and urgently. Like, this is too dry. And at this point, we really have to do something. And I will move them into new soil. This is just bad. This needs to come into new soil. Because even if This is just from dehydration, that the seedlings, like I've seen that 1 or 2 have a damaged root system, instantly red flag for me. So that would be reported. Even if it's just from drying out, the soil might never be fully flexible, fully able to be good for the seedlings. And I really wanna need this pot here. Give me the soil. Okay. Yeah. This is much better. Here's the new soil, sowing soil. So usually I wanted to single out containers that have too many seedlings, and today we didn't even get to that. Sometimes you just have to be spontaneous. You have to decide in the moment what you do, and just by looking at the soil, you sometimes, if you get a bad feeling, trust it. I'm like, my whole life, gut feeling has brought me through some very, very difficult situations, and with seedlings it's the same. If you get the feeling that the soil looks messy, that something's off, move them. Don't waste time. Move them right away, because very often that feeling is right. I am moving seedlings all the time. And I'm sure the people that watch my live stream, they would be surprised like how often I already report within the first month if it's necessary. Yeah, every time it's necessary, we will report seedlings. And what happens, every time you can have a different problem, and it requires you to replant them. Soil too dry, bad pH, contaminated, fungus gnats. Good to leave the old problems behind, leave the grief behind. Nothing a new pot can't heal. There's a lot of things that a new pot can't heal, but you know, for seedlings, it's a pretty good start. So yeah, I just try to get the soil off the seedlings here without damaging the root. Most of these don't have a pretty big one. Let me see what the label says here. Oh, come on, come out. What? Oh, this is Dessau. This is Pseudolobivia hybrid Dessau. Lobivia, Pseudolobivia, I don't know, multi-hybrid. Over the years, I've seen Dessau being referred to as all kinds of different hybrids. I think it involves something like Echinopsis obrepanda. I think it was the name was Echinopsis Callianto-lilacina. I think that is the species that is involved. And in my opinion, it is a form of Echinopsis obrepanda. Yeah, and it's great. Beautiful flower. Very useful for breeding, you know. I love it. And involved in some of the best hybrids ever. So growing offspring from it sometimes can really be worth it. And sometimes it's a huge waste of time. That has happened more often than I want to admit, you know, like Dessau, I love it. It's a good plant. I love to breed with it, but you have to be ready to grow 100 seedlings to get maybe 10 world-class hybrids, you know, or maybe even 200, you know, to have those 10 amazing ones. But those amazing ones can be masterpiece hybrids. that will, you know, like pink stripes. Look at pink stripes. Pink stripes would have never happened without Wurlitz, and Wurlitz would have never happened without Dessau. So sometimes when it goes well, it is a fantastic parent. Hartmut Kellner's the breeder. And yeah, named after a German city called Dessau. City in the east, I think. I don't think I was in Dessau before. Yeah. But I think the breeder comes from that area, and that's why that name was given. Okay, yeah, I will be moving these little seedlings here into the soil. Like always, making sure that they get in, like that they are firmly in the soil. And I might have to spray them a few more times because the soil is still not the way I want it to be. I want to have, you know, like quicksand, like that kind of quicksand, kind of soil where you just have to push it in and it stays there. I really like that. Not for me, not for myself, but for the seedling. That is exactly how I can get it in without damaging anything. And that's why that kind of sowing soil is pretty good. You can just, it is very flexible already. And once you water it, it's just perfect. And at the same time, you could also grow these in mineral. Not a problem. The fact that we're going with an organic approach here on the channel doesn't mean you can't do it in 1,000 other ways, you know? If you have questions about a certain method, let me know. We might even try it. You can sow out in so many different ways. And it can go right in so many different ways, and it can go wrong in many different ways. Okay. Yeah, they are much deeper now. And for one, that kind of protects the base a little bit, the base section. One or two seedlings really look interesting. Last year I had a plant that was flowering for the first time, and it was so amazing. Such an amazing flower. Also from Dessau. One of the best hybrids I ever created. And since then I started growing a little bit more with Dessau again. After I had been a little bit disappointed, I just got too many seedlings from it that looked exactly like Dessau. Like literal copies of Dessau. Okay. Yeah, this looks much better now compared to the other soil. You know? Just, you know, look at the video from before. It's much better now. I think the seedlings have a much better chance at life now. That soil will be able to hold the water a little bit longer. And just because it's not so baked in, so dried up. And these here I wanted to look at too, because we're repotting them too. Yeah. Hydrated. I can't wait. I wanted to start with the takeaway control already, but this needs to be done first. And I need to buy a new bag of sowing soil. It's almost empty. Then we can no longer repot. I still have vegetable soil, but I'm not sure if I want to do it. There's too much wood in there, literal big pieces of wood. I don't want that. Okay. So these need to move out of this pot also because they are too deep down in the valley of doom. There's too much humidity down there. Usually when you water them a lot, and sometimes it, like you've seen here, sometimes it's hard to see how much water they need exactly. And when you have them high up, it becomes instantly visible that the soil is dry. They look a little dehydrated, so I want to move them. New soil, flexible new soil that can take the water a little bit, you know. And due to the fact that this is so deep down, I should have repotted that a while ago anyway. Okay. What's this? Every seedling needs to be inspected closely with the root system. Seedlings that look like this, that are already dehydrated like this, they also often have other issues. Sometimes when they don't have enough water, the root gives in. Or sometimes they are dehydrated because something happened to the root that caused the dehydration. So we will have a close look at every single root here. And if there's one that doesn't have it, then we might then it might be over for that seedling. Okay. Yeah, always removing the soil. Not perfectly, because I don't want to overdo it. It's so easy to rip them off. Rip off the little root. The fact that they are now in the new soil, it's already great. Even if there's a little bit of soil left to it from the old container, they will eventually outgrow it. Now this gives them a chance to do that. So yeah, and later today, I will continue to build the new set, the new video set for the live stream. In the future, we will have seedlings of all sizes that I can bring in, that we can discuss. And yeah, I might have a potting table where I can take the live stream. But I will look into that. I'm not sure yet if I want to have a potting table in the house, you know, because it's also dirty. If I want that, it needs to be able. I need to be able to clean it, and that's what I want to try today. Moving around furniture. I have a few desks that I could use for that kind of thing, but I don't want to have a huge. I don't want to have a huge mess in the house. So we will see what we do. Okay, I'm almost done here. I think it's only 2 more seedlings. One of them super tiny. I'm not sure when that germinated, but it must have been just recently. And I would show it to you once I have it out of the soil. That hasn't happened yet. This is still in the soil. So this is a seedling, regards to the size, much smaller than the others. Must have germinated later. Sometimes when you start digging in a pot, you find more. Sometimes the seedlings fall down. You see that problem a lot more in the takeaway containers where you can literally see it. And here you wouldn't notice it when there's a seedling that is somewhere down. Here's another one. Okay, and these are Arboricola hybrids with a colorful father. That is great, like pink stripes, something like that. I think I used the pink stripes or bamboy, something like that was it. Okay. Yeah, so I spray it. A little bit more water again. Yeah, removing a little bit of stuff here and there. And I want to spray them again because the seedlings here are already dirty. Watering them, that gives you a little bit more visibility, makes everything easier. It's like when you're trying to do surgery and you need water to get visibility, because otherwise it's constantly something dirty. Need to keep the tools clean. Okay. Yeah, the seedlings look good. This is going into the right direction. So in the last 2 months, everything is getting better. I'm happy with everything. The conditions aren't perfect yet. I still need, like I said, I'm currently putting up shelves here and there, just trying to have a better setup. But overall, things are starting to become a little bit more sound. Maybe we can grow the lobivia inside. The smaller ones. Could also be great to show them on the live stream then. Maybe even when they are flowering inside. I haven't really tried it to push them, and maybe we can do it. Maybe we can get them to flower inside. Here's one seedling that just doesn't fall in line. I'm sure there's a piece of wood somewhere that blocks it. Yep. Okay. This one needs to be a little deeper now. Here's a little one that needs to be a little deeper because it's so tiny. Really got to make sure that it can take in the water. Here's a piece of wood that I want out. Here's one. Okay. I think we're done here. Yeah, this is good. Letting it dry out now. Comes under the plant lamp. They don't need to be in humidity anymore now. I spray them once a day. Under a lamp, they need light. If you would just put them in a dark place like that, not looking so good. At the very least, a little lamp, a little light bulb, something that gives them light. You can get these plant light bulbs just to give them light. And that also helps the water to evaporate. The better the lamp, the more evaporation you have, and that allows you to keep the soil healthy. You need to have oxygen in the soil, and if the soil is always wet and never dries, that never happens. So you really have to make sure that wherever you put those little seedlings, that it's not in a dark spot where they don't have a chance. Those come really under a lamp now. Maybe for a week. Try to give them a good spot under the lamp. I always rotate with different seedlings. Okay. These need to be watered again. I think they might have gotten already in this live stream. I'm not sure. But I just wasn't happy with the dryness. Soil still looked dry. Seedlings still look dehydrated. Trying to fix this a little. 1 or 2 seedlings are moving, you know. But that's okay. So this will come under the lamp again. I wanted to have a look at these. We need to take these apart, but not today. This is going to be a half an hour job. But within one of the next live streams. Yeah, but we need to do something here. Let me see. Here's a seedling that didn't make it just because eventually they will run out of space. If you have too many together, they will single themselves out. Just there's only so much space, and plants compete for it. So eventually, the weaker ones will give in, and that can lead to infection. And when you have them together like that in a clump, you can't control it. You don't know what's going on below. So we will take those apart. Let me put this aside. We will do them tomorrow, like these tomorrow. And these will go into 2 pots. This is okay, barely. They have a few more months in this pot, but it's already getting to the point when we should repot them. This is still first soil. First generation of soil and too little of it. And there are small seedlings down. Do you see the little ones? Like they're really small ones. We should take this apart. For now, I just want to water it, but we will take them apart one of the next live streams. I need to order new soil, new sowing soil. It's absolutely essential that we're repotting, that we continue to repot. Okay, these here, I've repotted them. This is the new soil now, and they are starting to really do well in the new soil now. I'm happy with the repotting. In this case, it went well. Soil looks healthy, dry, and I will water it again now. If the roots would look messy, half-eaten, then I might even give them a few more days to dry out, simply because the seedlings have a good substance to them, you know. They are not tiny. They don't look dehydrated. So these could take a day or 2 longer, maybe. But if it's not necessary, if the seedlings are all doing well, let's water them once. And then the soil can dry up again within the next day or 2. Might have to spray a second time now because it will take a while until the water will settle in, sink in. Yeah, but they look good. This is Lobivia winteriana. They just have nice seedlings. I like the seedlings of Lobivia winteriana. They always look great. Healthy seedlings. And you wouldn't think it's Lobivia winteriana. That's why it's so hard identifying seedlings. Some of them just like totally different plants look similar in the beginning. Okay. These here need water. Need to be singled out very soon. Very soon. Every day I'm singling other stuff out. I don't get to singling these here, and these need to be singled out. So maybe at some point these will get priority. For now they will get water, and they are on the list of plants that we could single out into 3 pots. We'll see how that will go here. So I will move this aside because I want to have a look at the takeaway containers that I have beside me. What a mess. Let me just try to clean a little bit here. Just trying to have a somewhat clean workplace, and it's not easy. Okay. This is much better. Okay, so let's open some of them up. It's too much work to get them out now. Yeah. This is very wet. And I consider bringing them out. The size could be good enough already. Decent size. Let me spray. Where's my little tool? Not sure. Oh, yeah, okay. So just want to inspect the seedlings a little bit. I want to see how well they are doing in the soil. Not looking bad, actually. And they are so small. Maybe we can keep them in there for another week or so. Fast 12, like I said, Lubivia. And good genetics. This could be great. So this will stay in there for now. Same here. These look similar. I think we will bring these out though. I want to get them started up. This is just taking me too long. I'm a little bit impatient with them now. I want to get them to a point where the soil dries out, where I can start fertilizing, where I can push them a little. So let me water it so I can just move the seedlings, finish them up in a way that that allows me to open this up. I want all the seedlings to be firmly in the soil. Nothing that doesn't have good connection, nothing that is super crooked. Okay. Here on the left side, there are many seedlings that we should actually move. I mean, if you look at it, they're pretty close to the border there. And some of them are on top of each other, you know. So let me just move a few out here. Not many, not all of them, just 3 for now. So I can pot them up, because I've seen that this seedling has a discoloration. I've seen that through the window of the container. And I would take this one out. This is just unhealthy. And that discoloration, probably because it was down, covered by other seedlings, you just need a little bit of oxygen. And if you have seedlings on top of other seedlings, that will not happen sometimes. Okay, yeah. We might have to move a few here. So I'm trying to move them a little bit more towards the center. Not all of them, but just the ones that look like they might need it. And once again, I trust my gut about that. When I see seedlings where I feel like, okay, this is going nowhere, then I move them. Okay. Yeah, and these come out now, I think. These will come out of the container. I will remove the lid now. Usually humidity in the first months. I'm not saying 100% a firm time frame where you can always take them out. Every case is a little different. Sometimes you encounter problems, but these have enough substance. Like, they are not tall, but they are thick, like roundish seedlings. Those often have a little bit of good substance when you bring them out. So we will try. And when I bring them out, once the soil is dry, I need to water them right away, because within the first days, there will be stress for them. I just look at the soil to see if there are fungus gnats. That is, now when I'm opening up, that is always one of the things I look for. Does something move? I open this up, and if I see something move, I will lose it. take it out, usually out of humidity. If I see fungus gnats flying up, instantly bringing them out. This case, I'm not sure, but I think we will try to bring them out. I just feel like drying out will help this soil to shake off this pest if it's in there. Okay, next one. These are very small, still germinating, and they take pretty long here. This is not going fast. They are tiny. They should be much bigger for the time frame when these were germinated. So here you have seedlings that need patience. We will try to give it to them, but yes, some of them look weak. Like this is Amun-Re, and with Amun-Re, I've realized that sometimes you have to be very careful and not to disturb them within the first days, weeks sometimes. And these are still in the process of coming up. I don't know why they need so long here. But I will give them time. At some point, you will be able to say which seedlings here have potential and which ones don't. Some of them here in there, we will take them out very soon within the next live streams. And now I sprayed carefully, not with a lot of pressure. If you have seeds that are germinating, actively coming up, they cannot take a lot of pressure, they cannot take movement. You do not want to disturb those tiny hair roots that they get at that point. So I just moved that one seedling here a little bit deeper into the soil because I feel like it looks like it had a bad day. Here's another one that I try to correct a little bit just to give it better connection to the soil. Here's a tiny seedling that has no chance. You know, like it was way too early, germinated, but without having that fully developed kind of seedling. And it really helps to take out these little things that go nowhere because they often contaminate the soil, even if you don't see it. Here's a little seedling that hadn't looked good. I moved it now, and I tried to get it into the soil again, but not looking great. Some of them are way too small. We have to be very careful here. This is the type of stuff that can turn into damping off. This is the type of climate that can turn into damping off. Genetic unhealthiness. And then you have these tiny seedlings that don't really have the health to grow healthily, like to grow normally. So we have to be careful here. We have to control them all the time, opening up more often. For now, this comes close to the lamp. I want to have that really with light. Because if you put that in the shade, then it's like they're in a cave. Like in that kind of thing, like these kind of smallish seedlings, they don't take the cave. They will not survive in the cave. Okay, these here, looking okay. They just need a little bit water. Spraying them a little bit more. And still too small to take them out. Sometimes you can see that seedlings have potential, that they continue to grow in humidity, but they are not there yet. And these are not there yet. Sometimes you open up and you feel like, okay, this hasn't changed much since last time. Not much is happening. I don't have the feeling here. They are just too young. This was one of the test germinations to test the germination rate. Yeah, and it succeeded, you know. What can I say? Would have surprised me if the seeds weren't any good because the seeds look good, like when they came out of the fruit. So it was good to see them do well. This is the same. This is also Amun-Re, and it's the same kind of germination. Weakish germination thing. Also needs to be up, way up at the lamp to give them light. And I really need to put these aside that I know which ones they are. Which one was it? This here, I think. Yeah. So, and these both very close to the lamp. I want to have light here. When everything goes well, the seedlings take more shade than the ones where you really need, really need the light. They get enough humidity in this thing, but they also need light. In this case, also a dangerous scenario, to be honest. Too many seedlings and too many not perfectly healthy looking seedlings. Also very small. Seedling size a little too small. I'm not sure if this is specific to this cultivar, but the seedlings are really unusually small, and it stands out. They are now, I'm hearing sirens in the area. I'm not sure what's going on, but we might have a little emergency here. Yeah, but I want to continue my live stream. I'm almost done now. Just want to say we are almost through. Just want to do these to finish up, and then then I will be back tomorrow. This is pink stripes, so I will clean up a little here. This is the last container probably today. The rest we will do tomorrow. I will just clean that up a little. There are 1 or 2 seedlings that are either in a bad position where I need to correct it, or they are unhealthy. So yeah, these come out. And that's all I want to do here. Okay. Yeah, and these come to the light too. I need a good lamp with them now. Trying to use the lamp strategically, give the weakest plants the best spots. And that's what I will do today, picking the weak ones that go under the lamp, and those will have the best kind of chances to make it. If they don't make it under these circumstances, they don't make it in any kind of scenario. Okay. Yeah, I think this is enough. Was a good live stream today. In the next live streams, we will do the other plants that I didn't get to today. We will sow out the fruit that ripens with the seeds. It still needs a little bit longer. A friend of mine earlier told me that, and we will give that to those fruits to ripen, that we finally have viable seeds that we can sow out. And in the next live stream, we will sow out again. Something different. Maybe I find something cool. And yeah, so thank you guys for having been here today. I greatly appreciate it. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow. I will now go outside and see if maybe, I don't know, there's a state of emergency in town because I keep hearing sirens and I want to check if everything's all right. So yeah, thank you guys. I greatly appreciate the live streams that we're doing. And it's not long until we're outside. So yeah, great times ahead of us. Thank you for having been here today. I hope you have a great weekend, great day. And everyone who's usually here, was great to have seen you again. And the ones that have missed it, I hope you will be back soon, and I hope things are going all right. So thank you, everyone. Until tomorrow, same time. Thank you.